Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The oceans of the world occupy over 70% of the Earth's surface. They encompass 99% of the space available to living organisms, and yet only about 10% has been explored. 90% of this habitat exists in the deep sea, more accurately referred to as the abyss. Our scenario is entitled Echoes in the Deep, and this is version 2. It was written by Matt Ryan and Noah Lloyd, who run an online role-playing resource called Reckoning of the Dead. They have produced many very clever single-page scenarios, and we look forward to playing more of them in the coming year. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Fred, why don't you start? You are muted. You're muted.
There we go. Apologies. My character is Johann Hjort. He's a marine biologist. He studied at Miskatonic University, where as an underfreshman, he was a severe pain in the backside of many of the senior and tenured professors who, after getting to know him, really encouraged him to go into marine biology and to hunt out the depths of the ocean, which he thought was a little bizarre, but it actually turned out to be a great calling for him. He is the lead biologist on our voyage today.
Excellent. Jeff?
I'm going by Anthony Stone. I'm also a marine biologist, but I'm I'm Johann's assistant. I'm aged 29. I'm still working on my doctorate. I'm actually not the best in the, how do you want to say it? The schooling aspect of it. It's mostly my eagerness and adventure that has gotten me to where I'm at right now.
Sean?
All right. Well, tonight I'm playing Mark Shipley. He goes by Finns, though. Ex-Navy SEAL, 35. Working for Miskatonic now. Still adjusting to civilian life, even though it's a few years out. But yeah, diving's what I do. Diving's what I like. I like to be given a job, and I make it happen. It's kind of a straightforward kind of rule follower, but only, when it makes sense.
Cool. Mick?
Hello, my name is Bob Thrower. I'm an oceanographer and submersible pilot. I work at at Arkham University. I'm just in love with the sea. I grew up watching In Search of and Jacques Cousteau documentaries on TV in the 70s, and I just wanted to get down there. So that's what I do. In my spare time, though, I quite like mountaineering. Just for a bit of a change.
All right, cool.
Fresh air.
All right, the ocean is blue, the water is very wet. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. The year is 2017. The USS Whitaker, a Virginia-class nuclear-powered attack submarine, has just departed the Norfolk Naval Shipyards in Virginia. On her present course, she should reach the Falkland Islands in about 9 days. And from there, she will be going to a deep sea trench. Attached to the top of her hull is a highly advanced deep sea submersible on loan from Miskatonic University in Massachusetts, and her crew accompanies her. All right, you have just boarded the submarine. You are met by the executive officer, Lieutenant Commander James Byron, and he welcomes you on board. He explains immediately that, of course, the captain is unavailable at the moment. He is preparing to launch. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. Have you ever been on a Virginia-class submarine before?
No, this is my first time. It's all very new, isn't it?
It's quite advanced. You'll find the layout is a little bit different than previous models. We have it used to be that the command center was all on one level. Now we've got 3 levels, and it's quite well protected from the outside. We're carrying a complement of nuclear missiles, and it's actually quite large. We have a complement of 14 officers and junior officers, and 120 regular crew. We
So
have
is this one of the Lockheed Virginia class then?
Yes.
Great. I've been hearing about these for ages. I've always wanted to get down in one.
I will show you around, and with that, he shows you basically where the ward room is, where you guys will be eating. You will be eating in the officers' mess with the officers, not with the crew, unless you so choose.
Swanky.
Oh, that's fine. I'd gladly pass on the PODs.
Food is available most of the time, and the food is actually superb aboard a submarine. Submarine crews get fed very well. In fact, as you're going through the area, the smell of baking bread is quite prevalent because they bake the bread right here on the ship. He explains that it saves a lot of space. Bringing the ingredients to bake the bread is far less what's the word? Encumbersome than bringing loaves of bread. He shows you through the missile room. The missile room is 3 stories high, and he just happens to mention if you need any exercise, the 3rd level up, you can run around the missiles. 17 times around is 1 mile. So
good to know.
I'll make use of that.
You meet various crew. Now there's basically 4 different types of people on board. You've got the engineering crew, the navigation crew, the weapons crew, and the supply crew. So there will be a chief officer, a lieutenant, lieutenant for each of those sections, plus crew that are working in those sections. I won't go down the list of names. If you guys want to talk to one, I'll give you a name then. You then also have junior officers. There are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 junior officers. This is their first time on board this ship. All the other ones have been here many times before. There's also Chief Cook. Everybody calls him the Chop. There is no official medical, there's not a doctor on board. There is an enlisted man that's known as I forget, they give him a corpsman. He is trained. He knows how to do all kinds of medical procedures. If somebody gets hurt, find the corpsman. If somebody needs an appendectomy, well, clear the table in the officer's ward and call the corpsman. He'll do the operation, because once you guys are down, you're on a military operation. They don't just turn around and go back just because somebody is injured. And he has an assistant. Other than that, there's various, there's radio operators, there's reactor. This is nuclear sub, so there's people in charge of maintaining the reactor, and everything that's done is done. There's also kind of a schedule that's posted all over the place. They work in like 3 shifts, and the shift is basically, if I understand it correctly, the shift is basically a third of that shift, they are working at their job. The other third, the second third, they are training, they are going to school, they are learning, they are doing maintenance. Everything on the ship, every single thing on the ship has a maintenance schedule. They don't let things break. They have a regular replacement. So the ship has redundancies and redundancies. It's very safe. unless they were to take direct fire from an enemy. And then he shows you where your bunks are, and they are very tight. They are 3 high. You only have barely enough room to climb into the bunk. You have a little bit of storage area where you can put your things, and it's like being in a little coffin. And you're going to have half a dozen other people in the same room with you. The corridors are very narrow, just enough room for you to scoot in there and get into bed.
But these aren't hot bunks. I'm not going to be stuck in there with fins on the same bunk, am I?
No, not on the same bunk. But he's
Okay.
going to be above you or below you. We don't care how you want to arrange it, but you'll be in there with other people. And are there any questions? Is there anything I can answer for you?
I'm sure we'll find our way around.
I have a question. Are we in danger?
No, not as far as we know. Of course, there's always the danger of being in a sub, but
Yeah, I mean beyond normal danger. I mean, why are we here?
None that we know of. Well, why don't we go back to the ward room and have a cup of coffee, and I'll sort of go over some of what we have. So he shows you through. He also points out that there are diagrams so that you can sort of tell where you are on the sub. It's quite large. It's quite a big sub. It's not exactly an aircraft carrier underwater, but it's a pretty big sub.
I don't know if there's anything to be nervous about, Anthony. These guys are trained professionals. This is probably another routine mission for them. They just want to use our eyes down there.
Mm.
And the only thing that it is it's crowded. It's not as crowded as subs used to be, but there are 134 people on board this underwater ship. There are 3 levels, which is amazing considering. All right, you get back to the wardroom, and he pulls out a little file and sets it down. And he says, the signal was triangulated by 3 NOS satellites. Those are Naval Ocean Surveillance System satellites. USA 423, USA 299, and OTS 674. Let's see. And he shows you a map. Basically says the location was spotted in the South Atlantic Ocean at 57.393864 degrees south, 24130430 degrees west, which is the South Sandwich Trench. The signal was triangulated at a depth of between 5 and 6 kilometers. The target also seemed to be moving slowly northward.
It was moving.
Yes. Very slowly.
And what kind of a signal again? Could you explain that a little bit better to me? What kind of signal did you pick up from it?
It would seem to be indicating that it was some sort of a submarine. Not dissimilar from our own, but obviously far more advanced. We can only go down to 900 meters. And this was probably somewhere between 5 and 6 kilometers.
And what about the signal makes you think that it's a submarine?
Yeah, I was wondering that.
What else could it be?
Could it be a whale carcass? Just
It's
caught in
radioactive.
some sort of... Oh, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
let's hope when you get there, you take a look and you see. Our intention is for us to go there. We'll park the sub and you'll go down and see if you can pinpoint the radiation source. And
I'm just. Can I just clarify something with you?
Yes, sir.
You say that you got a signal from that. Was it just a radioactive signature that you got, that there's a radioactive signature moving, or have you got some sort of idea of an object of a certain size?
Yes, we just received it. It was just a signature. We don't have enough resolution at that depth to be able to see what it was. But we could see that, as I say, it appeared to be moving slowly. And so we think, we're afraid a little. He doesn't say afraid, but we're concerned. The Navy is concerned that one of our rival countries has developed the technology that we are unaware of. And such a technology would be devastating if they were able to hide at those kind of depths with nuclear weapons.
Do you figure that they'll be hostile if we approach?
Let's hope not.
Because in the Spud, we don't exactly have any defenses down that deep.
Well, we have fins.
So we're going on an intercept course. Is that it? We're not.
That is correct. We will be heading towards the
planning.
Falkland.
Okay.
We're going to head towards the Falkland Islands and then turn towards the South Sandwich Islands. It'll take about 9 days to get the Falkland Islands, and then another day to get out to the Sandwich.
I mean,
Islands.
what sort of data are you expecting us to collect down there? Because I mean, we can get you sonar data from a reasonable distance, although obviously they're going to know that we're casting sonar at them. But I mean, if you want sort of
we can do passive.
a visual identification of it, we'd have to get very, very close to an object.
I believe that your submersible and your drone have been fitted with Geiger counters. So you may be able to get fairly close without using a sonar ping. That might, in fact, give away your position.
I mean,
I agree that we have to get exceptionally close. Once you get down past the midnight zone and you're in these trenches, light just does not penetrate to much distance whatsoever.
Yep.
Well, I trust that you guys will come up with a plan. We will do our best to keep you safe. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Are we in danger?
Have we left port yet?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're leaving port right now.
Why are you going to get off?
No, it's perfectly safe, Anthony. Just stay right here.
The security of our country is in possible jeopardy, gentlemen. It might be nothing. It might be a geological anomaly. It might be something that we haven't encountered before, but we're most concerned with it being some sort of a submarine.
With the modern sensor technology that we know are on these submarines, what's the likelihood that if we get down that deep, that someone with equal or better technology is going to know we're right there next to them? Do they have that kind of resolution and that kind of visibility on a submarine like that?
They'll know there's something down there with them. I mean, they won't necessarily know what it is.
Your submersible is pretty small.
Yeah, and we're quiet too.
Yeah,
quieter than a big giant ship with props and cavitation and all that. We should be
without you know, unless they bring themselves, even if it's a sub, unless they bring themselves by for a pass, the difference between a submersible and say a giant squid is very difficult to ascertain just by sonar.
The problem is at that depth, there are no giant squid at that depth. We're thousands of feet beyond that, or meters beyond that.
Yeah, that was just an example. But...
Sure, I appreciate. I guess you
or a rock.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, when I think about the lives that we're taking down there, I don't take that lightly. I really, you know, I don't want to take any undue chances or unnecessary chances here.
Yeah, well, I can tell you now that I'm not going to take any chances. So.
Well, we
take
we
my job
expect you to do your
seriously enough.
best. We wouldn't ask you to do this if we had the kind of equipment that you have. This is a cooperation of necessity.
Well, you've got one of your best pilots right here. Bob's, I've known him for at least 15 years, and you're not going to find better. So I guess we're the right crew for it.
Outstanding. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. If you're in any particular area of the ship, you do have the various lieutenants, the chiefs in charge of those areas. And other than that, gentlemen, you are free to roam about and do what you wish. You're not on a regular. If you wish to take classes, there's actually a rather extensive library, not of books, but of information. I don't know what they would have, discs. It's all on computer. But there are classes taught in various aspects of marine biology and stuff like that. You could probably teach one yourself if you wanted to keep yourself occupied over the next 9 days.
Just out of game for a moment, just to clarify something. Our submersible, does it have claws?
Sure.
It does. All right. I just wanted
Your
to know.
submersible is also state of the art, the top of the line, the best.
Okay.
It's equivalent to like Challenger Deep.
So we can manipulate things outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And will it hold all four of us, or is it just a single or
Yes,
two?
it will hold all four of you tightly.
Damn.
It's not comfortable.
What
But you
about-
guys are used to that.
What about two? Once we are in the submersible, are we on our own, or do we have radio contact with the submarine?
You should maintain radio contact. You should be able to also. It'll take you to descend to the very bottom of that trench. Might take you 2 hours. It's a long way down.
Okay.
And what's our oxygen and fuel capacity? How long can we stay out in that submersible?
Oh, easily 8 hours.
Okay.
You could actually, in an emergency, reach the surface. But that would take you, once again, probably 3 hours to go from the bottom to the surface.
Are they kind of tentatively planning to drop us off somewhere in advance of the path of this object?
No.
So that then we have an intercept course?
They will do their best once they get there. Well, I'm talking as if it's them. Byron is right there. He says, we will get you to the trench. We will do our best to locate the object, and we won't utilize you until we actually know the area, and we can literally drop you right down to it and take a look.
Are you continuing to get satellite telemetry on this object?
I don't have that information at this time.
If you could find that out, I would be interested in understanding its movement patterns. If we can determine any sort of repetition to its movements. Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to ask either in-game or out because I'm not so sure. Probably in-game. Radiation. Does our sub that we're on right now give off radiation?
Are you talking about the Whitaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. Up until recently, they didn't let women on board these ships. But now they do. So it's just a little radiation.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. I have to go back up onto the command deck. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And, thank you. And he gets up and he leaves.
I don't think much of this coffee. It tastes faintly of offal for some reason.
Bob, if you see any big red buttons, don't push them.
You realize it could be like anything up to like 3 weeks and until anyone can have a cigarette. I mean, I'm not a smoker myself, but that's a lot of frayed nerves down here.
I imagine some of these guys are used to deployments of 6 months or more on a ship like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go down and they don't come up for a long time. Helps keep them hidden.
They surface once in a while, but I don't think there's a whole stream of people going up to smoke.
Probably not.
Nicorette gum is in heavy use down here, probably.
There's a
That's
dispenser.
probably right.
Well, fellas, we should bunk. Get her. Oh, go ahead.
Have we been down this deep ever before? Is this new to us?
You guys have the submersible. You probably have done missions down into trenches before.
Yep. That's what I was
Yeah, I
thinking.
mean we've done tests. We know the submersible. It's well within its capabilities.
We've just never been down this long.
Or maybe even in this trench. This is one of the deepest trenches in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of that we've been studying at shallower depths in other trenches. It's just when you get down this far and at this remote of a location, it's harder to get money to come this way because it seems like it's tougher to find things down here.
Yeah, I mean, we should be a little selfish here too if we can learn stuff while we're down here.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Take lots of photos.
Yeah, interesting to see what's down there. I'm not sure there's a great deal of fauna to be seen down there, but yeah, definitely. We've got video.
At those kind of depths, I would expect most of it would be something you need to put under a microscope.
Yeah, I think it's by the sounds of it, I think it's going to be of more geological interest than anything else.
I've seen some neat mineral formations when down that low, though. I mean, just the stuff that happens because of tectonic and volcanic activity. You can get some really beautiful mineralogical formations.
Well, this is still a hot zone. There's some sort of simmering volcanoes and vents down there. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll find some of those tube worms.
Could be.
I'm not a biologist. You guys know the sciencey stuff.
I wonder if we'll see some
I just saw it on TV. Sorry.
We might see some really neat crinoids. Or are we too deep for them too?
I believe we're too deep for most of them, yes.
You guys are the marine biologists. I don't know the answers.
I personally, if I wish I was coming down here under other circumstances because the islands down this way are full of gorgeous species of penguins. So it's neat to watch them kind of screaming their heads off and doing their craziness.
Bet they taste horrible. I heard they're all fatty. In one of my survival classes, we talked about different locations where what food to get, and they said you could live off of penguins, but not the best tasting things.
Isn't it meant to be quite sort of like fishy tasting meat, like somewhere between fish and chicken? What kind of wine would you drink with that?
Scotch.
Strong, yeah.
All right. So, what would you guys like to do?
I think if it's okay, Tom, I'd like to have a brief conversation with the. No, we're good. We're good. You guys just figure it out. Sorry. I'm dithering. My character's just sort of. I've been on a submarine before, and as part of my military work, and never really happy being in the boat. I want to be in the water. So I know I'm going to get a little antsy on the boat, guys. So I'm just going to go read a bit. If I disappear, that's why.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I'm going to stow my stuff away, and then I think probably it's time to go and visit the submersible for what I imagine is going to be the first of a great many safety checks over the coming days.
The submersible is attached to the top of the submarine, so you actually climb up into your submersible. That's towards actually the back of the submarine.
Okay.
And Anthony, what are you doing?
I'm gonna wander.
Okay. So you wander around, and most of the people who have a free second to chat with you are really interested in what you do, and where you're from, and the submersible, and what's it like going down that deep into the ocean. This must be just like skimming the surface for you.
Very peaceful.
So one of the people that you meet along the way is a man named Aaron Rumsey. He's in the navigation department, and well, I'll just be him. So how are you guys going to? What are you guys actually going to do down there? You going to see if you can pinpoint it?
That's a good question. From the sounds of it, we're just going to be dropped off near it, and then it's up to us to get to whatever this thing is that's producing this signal, and then we're going to hopefully identify it.
You have Geiger counters and all that so that you can.
Yeah.
It's
Hopefully
like, wow.
there's enough.
He says, that sounds really, really fascinating. I wish I could go with you.
I don't even know if we're going to see anything. There's no light down there. We're going to have to get really close or use some really bright spotlights.
Well, I'm not a biologist or anything. I thought there were all kinds of fish down there that glowed in the dark.
Yeah, probably. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they'll be that deep.
Wow, that's really kind of amazing, though, that you're going to be down there. Well, I hope whatever you find is really not as dangerous as we're thinking that it might be. If it's an attack sub, that would be some advanced attack sub.
Yeah. Although they are sending a military submarine, so maybe somebody knows more than what they're letting on to us.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's why you're here, because they don't know. I don't think they would have involved you if they knew anything more. Anyways, that's basically. Do you have any questions for him? He's a navigator.
No, not really. We have our
He's an ensign, by the way. Ensign Rumsey.
Do you say Aaron or Aaron?
Aaron, Aaron. But he is an ensign. Ensign Aaron Rumsey. Navigation. He's a nav. They call them navs. They call them navs. If they're in engineering, they're ENGs. If they're in weapons area, they're WEPs, and if they're in the supply, they're SUPs.
Probably the most creative, but it works.
Not really, yeah. The only one that's kind of creative is the cook. He's the chop. I guess because he chops things up. All right. You encounter a few other people as you go along. The chief engineer is Mark Meminger. Chief navigation is Kendrick Bailey. These are all lieutenants. Chief of weapons is Claude Germain. And the supply chief is Ruben Endres. And then various other people. Why don't you do a knowledge? Let's see what we call it. And knowledge roll. That works. Intelligence.
Oh boy, that's a good way to start the game. A 99.
Okay, you don't know nothing. All right.
How about, could I get a sense from the crew So again, I think Anthony is worried about being in danger. Does the crew seem on edge at all, or is this pretty much just a strictly routine, just another mission?
They seem very focused and well trained on their jobs. So
Okay.
You don't get any kind of tension from them.
Okay, great.
The only exception to that is all of the ensigns, the junior officers. This is their first time, so they're trying really hard, to make an impression, to do a good job, too. So they might be a little nervous, but they're only nervous because it's their first time at this level.
Okay, that actually makes me feel a little bit better.
How about the rest of you? Yeah, Sean, you said you were going to go. Sorry, not Sean. Mark, you say you're going to read?
Well, I'm going to wander off with the intentions of going to whatever library you said that exists, whether it's physical. I know it's not physical library.
Right.
And I mean, my idea of reading is just sort of, I like to prepare for anything, and the guys have worked we all before, like to prepare for things in advance. So I'm just going to head in there and just see if there's anything I can read up on in their databases that are available on generally the location we're going to.
I was basically going to do the same thing.
Okay.
Go together. That's good. We've worked together before. We know each other. I'm not trying to avoid anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a good idea for us to be prepared. And I mean, while 90-some% of the life down in the ocean is going to be in your top 200 meters. So, I mean, we're going down to, areas I haven't really spent a whole lot of time studying. So it'd be good to brush up on some of this.
I generally know my way around too, because I've been, in my previous career, I've been deployed a few times for insertion using these subs. So I can tell you where the washrooms are. How's that?
Excellent.
Well, as you're doing a little research, I mean, you find out some simple things. You find that the trench is about 100 kilometers off the coast of the Sandwich Islands, the South Sandwich Islands. It's part of what's it called? The Rim, the Pacific Rim, or the Atlantic Rim, whatever. It's got volcanoes along the edges. The trench is about 965 kilometers long, and the maximum depth is 8,428 meters below sea level. And other than that, it seems like a trench. Just another deep place for you to take your sub down into.
All right.
Does it seem like the waters are? Do we have any information on like the waters and current, and whether or not it's fairly safe, or if we're going to encounter a lot of like turbulence, things like that down there?
You shouldn't incur any. Once you get down to the abysmal depths, I don't think there is any current.
Okay.
It's very, very, very slight.
I guess in character I would have known that, but okay.
You also find out that your let's see. I thought I had a thing about the Whitaker. Anyways, it's big. I won't give you the exact size of the Whitaker, but it's big. All right. So you start to get into this routine. It's easy to adopt. It's posted everywhere. Basically, eating and sleeping is what you're going to be doing, and getting in a little exercise and stuff like that. I would like you all to do luck rolls and give me who gets the worst.
Oh, that might be me. 87.
I've passed with a 46.
Very good.
I got 4.
You did very well.
I got a 7.
All right. So Fred.
Johan's not feeling very lucky. Yeah.
Fred, you're wandering around. This is the second day. You've eaten earlier. You're wandering around, and you hear a call over the intercom for the corpsman to come to the sort of the sick bay they have. It's not much of a sick bay. It's like one cot. And where you are standing, the corpsman comes right past you. And you find out that the sick bay is just like 2 doors farther down from where you are. So you see him going there, and you can hear him talking to some of the other crew that are in there. Like, what happened?
Does it seem crowded down that way?
It's crowded everywhere. There's no place here where you're going to ever find any privacy.
Do I seem like I would be in the way to proceed and take a look in there?
Not really. Nobody would notice.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to pop my head in there.
All right. So a couple of other crew have brought in this one guy, and he's laying down on the cot, and he says, "So what's going on?" And he says, "Well, he seems to be complaining of stomach problems, but he's broken out in this rash all over." And the corpsman starts to look at it, and he says, "Well, I think we can take care of this. Gentlemen, you can go back to your posts." And they, of course, do that. And at about that time, he sees, the corpsman sees you. And he's like, "You're one of the civilians, yes?"
Yes, sir. My name's Johann Yurt. I'm the lead biologist on the team.
Ah, good. Well, good. A biologist. Maybe you can give me some guess as to what this might be here. Here, let's help me get this guy's clothes off. Now, the guy's not unconscious.
Okay.
He's just itchy.
Huh.
What you notice is that he seems to have broken out in a kind of a rash. Except that, it's blotchy in places on his chest and down one arm. Normally, rashes tend to be bright red, in this case, it's off-colored. It's almost like a darker brown than his natural skin color. Instead of red, it's going brown. And it's odd. It's odd looking. You don't think you've ever seen anything like it. You don't really have a medical. If you have medical, you can roll it. But
no, just first aid and then the biology. Yeah.
Anyway, he says, we'll make up some cream or something and put this on, some calamine lotion or something like that.
Now, has that been spreading, or did that all appear at one time?
How long have you had this, son? And he says, just since this morning. The guy's name is Ernest Wheeler, by the way.
Ernest Wheeler.
He's an enlisted.
Yeah, Ernest. When that started, where were you?
He says, "Well, it started when I was getting ready to go on duty. It's like after I'd gotten up and I'd cleaned myself up, I started to itch, and there it was. And it's just gotten worse just over the last few hours."
Do you feel sick otherwise?
Yeah, kind of. I tried eating some, but my stomach's not feeling so great. I'm probably gonna lose it.
Yeah. What's the corpsman's name?
Corman's name is Dr. Corey Lane. He is a doctor. Well,
okay.
he's not a doctor, but everybody calls him Doc.
Okay. Doc Lane, I know you guys are exceptionally safe on board here, and I don't mean to doubt anybody's professional work, but is there any chance this is a radiation thing?
Oh, no. This isn't radiation at all.
Okay.
Radiation looks completely different than this. And I'll do some tests just to make sure. But yeah, this doesn't look like radiation.
Okay.
Besides, Corman, you're not. I mean, I guess they call him privates. They call him submariner.
Ensign.
Well, no, the guy's not an ensign. He's just a enlisted.
Yeah.
Seaman?
Yeah, maybe that's what they call him, seaman. What's your position? Where are you working? And he says he's in navigation. He's not in the reactor. So, okay. Well, anyways, I don't see that there's much more that we can do right now. I'll keep him here, keep him monitored, and we'll see if we can relieve the itching.
Sure. Sorry I couldn't help more.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your assistance. All right. What are the rest of you doing this morning?
I'm running around the missiles. I start my morning with exercise every day.
Okay.
I'm going to visit the map room and see if I can find any charts. Well, which they will have, obviously, because we're heading there. Just charts of the trench. Try and sort of familiarize myself with the topography of the region, so I know what to expect.
Okay. I don't have anything like that, but you find everything that you need. It's all computer, so. And Anthony, what are you doing?
I'm probably just going to be doing the same thing. I'm kind of bored. I'm looking to just explore the submarine as much as I can without getting in trouble.
Okay. You can also sit on some of the classes.
Okay.
Things are going on all the time because, like I say, it's a rotation of 3 different groups to everything. Oddly enough, that doesn't apply to the officers. The officers are actually on a completely different schedule. They're on I don't know exactly how it runs, but it's something like they're on for 24 hours, and then they get a period where they're off, and then they're back on again for 24 hours. And it goes on like that. It's pretty grueling for the officers. All right, so you're just wandering around. Mark, you're upstairs running around the reactor, the missiles.
Yeah.
And while you're there, you're joined by a couple of others who also are running around the missiles.
Give them a nod.
Yeah, it's a nice group. Everybody's very friendly. When you're done, I should mention that you have kind of a special way of taking showers on board these ships. Water is the most precious substance on the ship, and you actually make your own water. The reactor needs fresh water. It's designed so that it actually takes seawater, tears it apart on a molecular level, and creates water. But water is it's not an endless source. So when you take showers, it's basically you wet yourself down, you turn the water off, you soap yourself down, you clean yourself, then you rinse yourself off with as little water as you can possibly manage. So you're getting ready to head down towards the place where you can do this after you've had your run. And you notice one of the crew had been something kind of odd. As you're walking down the corridor and you're looking, this crewman had been working maintenance on some piece of equipment. And as you approach him, you're approaching him from behind. So he doesn't see you, but he's gone past the equipment he's working on, and he's leaning on the hull, the outside hull of the ship. And he's got his hands and his face pressed up against the metal. And he seems to be unmoving, almost in a trance.
Can I see his rank on his shoulder?
Oh yeah, he's just an enlisted man.
I'll just walk up, stay a relatively safe distance, say, "Hey, buddy, what's up? You okay?"
When you do that, he sort of takes a breath in and he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, just a little tired. Sorry." And he
Do
says,
you need me
"Please,
to call a corpsman?
yeah, don't tell anybody. I'm fine. I'm just a little distracted. But don't report me anything, please.
When he turns around, I'll make note of his name, though, in my mind, so I know what his name is.
Okay, it's um, Julian Leach."
Julian Leach. Nice naval name, Leach. Okay. All right. I'll just nod. And does he keep going in the same direction, or does he turn off somewhere else, or what does he do?
No, he goes immediately back to what he was doing, maintenance on something.
Oh, so he's in the same area where he's working on. Okay.
Yeah,
Is he working on anything important, or is it just regular everyday stuff?
just regular everyday stuff. Something that is just a piece of equipment that's it's the equivalent of changing a light bulb.
Okay. I'll just I'll proceed, but when I get to the point where I can still see him from a distance,
Mhm.
I know it's kind of hard on a sub. I'll just sort of look back and hopes he, assuming he can't see me, and sort of see if he just continues working, or does he go back to doing what he did?
He seems to continue just doing what he was working. Well, he's just working.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'll keep going, but if I see anybody who's a senior, like an officer, senior officer, I might take them aside.
Okay.
I've been on subs, and I know that you can't have someone who's about ready to pass out while they're doing work.
Right. All right. I should explain in the evening. You have dinner in the officers' mess, at the officers' wardroom, and the captain always eats with you. Seems like a very interesting man. His name is Edward Toffer, Captain Edward Toffer. He asks you questions. He seems very formal, very disciplined. The Captain Picard of the sea. And ask questions. He looks like he's well respected and admired by the other members of the crew. But when you reach the fourth day, the captain doesn't show up for dinner. Lieutenant Commander Byron makes excuses that he's training new crew. He's putting the crew through the ringer on the in the command area. So he apologizes, but he's not going to be joining us. Fred, Johann, do you do anything in the last couple of days significant? I mean, just what you're normally doing, or?
Yeah, I mean, if I had found a large amount of data on the trench, then I probably would have spent a good deal of time diving into that, making sure that I was aware of anything that might seem threatening to the team, and then maybe kind of taking a look at new naval technologies, just because I'm curious about what do we think might be down there if it is another type of submarine. Otherwise, probably just reading something on an e-reader and kind of spending a lot of day hanging out on the bunk.
Okay. Go ahead and do a luck roll for me.
That's a pass.
Okay. You went at one point to check on the crew member that had gotten the rash. The rash seemed to have gotten much worse. It's blistering parts of his skin, and he is now almost unable to take food. He's quite ill, and the coloration of this rash seems to be like bright green.
Do I have any ability whatsoever to determine if something like this is communicable, or that we have to worry about
Well,
infection?
2 other members of the crew, Ned Groller and Harold Pierce, have also begun to show symptoms.
Did they inhabit similar areas and were they in similar places?
Well, Ernest Wheeler, the first guy, he was from navigation. Sam Portsmouth is from the weapons area, and Harold Pierce works in the kitchen. So no. They also seem to be one day behind each other. So the progression.
Okay. So it's Ernest first, then Sam, then I'm sorry, who was the last name?
Ernest, Sam, and then Ned.
Ned. Okay. And do they share rank?
No.
No. Do they bunk in the same areas?
Nope.
I asked him about where they were taking showers. Was it in the same area?
Well, there's really only the one shower. Yeah, the one shower area. So yes, they do shower in the same area.
Okay. Similar times a day?
2 of them, yes, but the other one, no.
Okay. I asked the corpsman, what does he think of this? I mean, it seems like a highly dangerous situation.
He's like, I don't know. It's some sort of an infection.
But Doc, what's protocol for something like this? I mean, you guys got to know what happens if the flu breaks out down here, or, got to have something to keep
normal
this from.
protocol on the submarine is that we do our mission and get back as fast as we can, but we don't stop a mission because somebody gets sick.
Yeah, well, do you need to isolate these guys if,
Well, I've got them fairly well isolated. They're not roaming about, but the thing that's baffling me is how they're contracting it, because they don't seem to have anything in common. They're not even friends.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of asking, asking these guys what they've been up to. How do they seem otherwise? Do they are they able to keep their wits about them?
So far, they're just really uncomfortable and unable to keep food down progressively. And the one who came in today, Ned, he's got it like Ernest had on the first day.
Is there a science station on board here? Anywhere that would have microscopes so we could do slide work?
No.
No.
No, it's not that kind of a vessel. It's an attack sub.
Sure. Okay.
He says, I think some of the on the next proposed model, they're supposed to have a medical crew, but I'm it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of variation in these in this class submarine. I was just hoping that maybe you guys were outfitted with a kit like that, maybe because of needing to test things that the seals bring back on board or something like that. All right. Well, can you keep me informed as to what's going on here, and let me know if this continues to spread? And
Absolutely.
I can't help but be concerned about this. I want to make sure the team stays safe. And by any chance, have you heard anything about the captain recently? Have you seen him?
Not really. But then I don't go up onto the command deck unless I'm called up there.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. I was hoping to see him last night. Didn't get a chance to. So I didn't know if maybe you knew where I could find him now.
Okay. All right. Jeff, Anthony, you're also wandering around. Do a spot hidden for me.
Yes, 05.
All right. You are in a corridor somewhere towards the area of the ship where the officers actually sleep. Now, believe it or not, the officers, most of them still sleep in very similar conditions to the way you guys are in bunks. But the captain and the lieutenant commander, they have little staterooms. They're not much bigger than what you guys have, but they have a little sink, and they're just a little bit better.
Mhm.
You happen to be near the staterooms, maybe a few doors down, but they're down that way. And you hear some people talking. You hear a couple of people talking, you think. Sounds like maybe the captain's voice. You can't quite make out what they're saying. It's too echoey. It's just, you just can't quite make it out. But as you sort of glance down the corridor to where the stateroom is, you see Aaron Rumsey from navigation, and you see Captain Topher, and Rumsey is handing Topher a book. Looks like an old leather book. And that's it. That's what you see. At which point, Rumsey turns around and goes wherever he's going to go, and the captain goes into his stateroom.
Was this suspicious? Is that why it caught my attention, or is it just something I just noticed?
It was different than anything that you've seen. You know, maybe it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But why's you got some old book?
Mm-hmm.
That just seemed odd. Maybe it's a memento.
Mm-hmm. Personal reading, maybe. Yeah, but I'll take note of it.
Okay. All right. On the 5th day, 2 of you notice at some point during the day.
Oh, can I stop?
Go ahead.
Tom, because of what I've seen now, this does concern me. The infection on a small or on a contained vessel like this, I make sure the rest of the team knows about what I've seen.
Okay.
And that I suspect it could be communicable, in that, make sure they're not using hand towels and other things that might otherwise seem somewhat innocent. Try not to have a lot of contact with other surfaces and basic good hygiene practices.
Okay.
So,
well, if he mentions that, I will mention what I saw. This, or whatever his rank was, leaning against the wall as if something was unwell, like face against the outside. I'll explain what I saw in the conversation I had, and
what was his name?
Leech.
Leech. Okay. Yeah, and this was it seemed like there was this guy Everest, and then Sam, and then Ned, and they were from Nav, Weapons, and the kitchen. It didn't seem like they really were. I was kind of expecting them to all be in the same really close quarters.
Yeah. Well, the whole ship's close quarters, though.
Yeah.
So
well,
they all eat
either way,
the same areas.
Yeah.
Let's wash our hands.
And these lesions look pretty nasty. Yeah, they're turning green on these guys, and they're damn uncomfortable. So,
okay.
Did you say?
Yeah.
Did you say kitchen?
Yeah, kitchen.
Oh.
But it looks like you're keeping him down in the infirmary now. So.
Well, I'm gonna microwave anything I eat now.
Yeah.
Green. What do you think that is? Like an algae or something's got into something?
I couldn't tell. It didn't look like anything plant-based to me.
Jeez, I don't want to turn green.
Gangrene.
Unless it's jealousy. That's the only joke I tell on the entire voyage. I'm a very serious man.
All right.
Taciturn, some might say.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Did I say 5th day or 6th day? Doesn't matter. Let's just skip. We'll say it's the 6th day. By the 6th day, a couple things you've noticed. The captain still is not eating with you. It seems like in sick bay, one person every day contracts this rash. No more, just one person each day contracts the disease or whatever it is. Each one in turn gets worse and worse and worse. By now, Ernest Wheeler's body is completely covered in this rash, and he is becoming incoherent, and they've isolated him. They've actually put him into a tent, and at the most the corpsman can do is make him as comfortable as possible, but nothing seems to be working at all. And now that you've heard what Mark said, you have all noticed the occasional crewman that seems to have stopped working and is leaning on the outer bulkhead of the ship, almost longingly, almost in some sort of a trance, as if they were listening to something or waiting for something to happen. And when this first happened, when you first see your first one, they seem to come to the second you make a noise. But as the days progress, some of them, you almost would have to shake them to get them to pay attention. And it starts to include some of the officers as well.
Group meeting, guys.
Yeah, agreed. When I see when we
find a
see
room
this,
that's not open. Yeah.
Yeah, when I first see this, is there any indication that this could be a mental illness of some sort, like a delirium, or something that could have been brought on by drugs?
It does seem like the people are on drugs, like they're experiencing some sort of a euphoria.
Okay.
The looks on their faces when you've seen them seem to be almost euphoric.
Okay, fellas, I'll be honest with you. Before the voyage here, because of my previous work, my previous job, I did have a bit of a discussion with some senior military brass before we left port. And I'm wondering, do you guys think I should go and maybe have a little talk with maybe not the captain, but one of the senior officers to see if there's anything going on? Any concerns they have? Because I'm a little concerned that we're out in the middle of the ocean, going way down south, with a ship of people getting sick and acting weird.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, we're what now? 2.5, 3 days out from the Falklands.
Yeah, we're like off Argentina now or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe off Brazil.
You should probably be there day after tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
And if we need to find another vessel to try to match up with from the Navy or whatever, I mean, we need some time to do that. Especially if this is going to be a progressively worse situation with the crew. I absolutely think you're right. We need to elevate this because someone's got to take notice of the fact that if it proceeds, we could become incapacitated down here, not having the hands to maintain the ship.
What's with them listening to the hull of the?
Has anybody tried it? I mean, has anybody put their ear up to the side of it? I mean, it sounds crazy, but
no. I mean, I've got there's sonar equipment on the submersible. I could listen. I could have a listen outside and You know, there's sonar and there's a scope.
Scope? I'm familiar with that.
Scope,
It's a fairly new piece of equipment.
can't quite remember the name of that piece of equipment at the moment.
Endoscope.
Endoscope? Nope.
A CO scope.
Ah, that one.
Yes. Is it
The machine that goes ping.
Is it called a bathoscope?
Yeah, the machine that goes ping. I love the fact that when I play with you guys, you get all these great references from Monty Python.
But I could have a listen, see if there's anything out there.
Ping. Oh, it's just the ocean that goes ping.
The ocean that goes bloop.
So you're going to try to use some equipment to see if you can hear what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I can just I'll do this under the cover of just testing it. I mean, I'm just testing the equipment on the submersible. There's nothing unusual in that at all.
Well, we can access the submersible, can't we? Are we allowed to go up into it?
Oh yeah.
I go up there every day for a couple of hours.
Okay.
I run my safety checks every single day.
Go ahead and do a listen roll. We'll call it a listen roll.
Okay. And I got 40 out of 40. Technically, that's a 0, so it might be 400 out of 40. No, it's 40 out of 40.
There's a noise that you're not sure. You realize immediately that you're not really sure what a Virginia-class submarine sounds like. In this case, it's probably just a submarine, but you're not 100% sure. It sounds weird, but then this is a highly advanced. It doesn't make the same sound as an old-fashioned submarine.
What does it sound like?
Just it's kind of a whirring sound, and you're pretty sure that most of that noise is the submarine. But there might be something else. You're not quite sure what it is. But it doesn't sound interesting. It just sounds like you're 99% sure that it's a mechanical sound.
And what about outside the range of hearing? I mean, just sort of with instrumentation.
Doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary.
Components?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. You might pick up some distant whale calls and things that are subsonic, and but those things you can probably identify pretty well.
Okay.
All right, Frank. Frank. You're Frank in too many stories.
The funny thing is, I know who you're talking to.
Of course. Anthony.
Can I just say that the word I couldn't remember before was hydrophone.
Hydrophone.
That was...
Yes, it sounds just like water. All right. Anthony, what are you up to?
I think I'm following Bob. But in addition to that, though, I like Finn's idea. So at some point, I'm going to stop and put my ear to the outside wall.
Okay. You don't hear anything unusual, just vibrations of the ship.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe this is a joke that they pull on civilians.
Yeah, I'm not a civilian.
Submariners are known for playing.
Yeah, there's not much to do here. Looking for entertainment.
They're usually more creative, though. On the 9th day, you arrive at the Falkland Islands. You don't arrive. You're passing the Falkland Islands. The captain has still not shown up on board for dinner. The only thing you get from the crew when you're talking about it is that he's a hard ass, and that he is driving the crew, taking constant measurements to see if he can locate the possibility of any other signatures outside the trench on the way. He seems a man obsessed with what could possibly be out there. But you're getting that secondhand.
How about, are they able to confirm that whatever it is we've been sent to look at is still there? Like, are they still getting signals?
As far as they know, the satellites have when they passed over, were still able to note that something was there.
Is it staying in the same general area?
It's moved maybe 20 miles since the very first time, but very slowly.
Is it headed in a certain direction?
It seems to be heading northward along the bottom of the trench.
And only 20 miles.
Only 20 miles in 9 days.
You know, this could quite easily just be, I mean, it could be just a large volume of nuclear waste that's been dumped there. It's been carried along by a deep sea current.
There are currents, especially in the deep trenches. They're slow, so.
Tomorrow.
Did you have any luck when talking to the brass? You know, trying to get any sort of word out of them as to what was going on? And they had shared any concern about the crew?
Well, that's the thing, Tom. GM question. Taking a look at the senior officers that are around, certainly want to pick out one that doesn't seem to be affected, doesn't seem to be ill.
Well, Lieutenant Commander Byron, as the days have progressed, you've noticed he's quite stressed. He doesn't seem sick. He doesn't seem to be behaving oddly. He's concerned because the captain seems to be really driving the crew hard.
Mm-hmm.
And
to do what? Sorry, go ahead.
To go over procedures over and over and over again. He's got them drilling. He's got them. He's keeping them on. It's just everything that he does seems obsessive and somewhat unlike his normal demeanor. Maybe he is extremely concerned about something that, the captain might know something that he doesn't tell his officers. But as a result, a lot of the stress has fallen onto Byron. He's got crew that are sick. He's got crew that are behaving oddly. However, he assures you that we have enough redundancies and we have enough crew here that we can easily handle the problems that are going on. You don't have a tremendous amount of confidence in him saying that, but
does he recommend that just because we've been called in to do this, maybe I could speak to the captain, or is that not something that's going to happen?
Well, he says, I can't stop you from trying, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Well, I'll let him know, because I said I haven't, passed this on since I got on the ship. But I mean, I'll tell him my former rank, former Navy SEAL. I've been on subs before. I've been on ships before. I'm a civvy now, but I used to be one of you guys. So I mean, I understand how things happen, how things work down below. So just if you need an ear, you need someone outside of the chain to talk to, come to see me anytime.
I appreciate that. And now I got to get back.
Then I slam him and
Um,
information. No, just joking.
Were you telling me your intention is to go and try and talk to the captain?
If he's recommending no, I think I'll leave it for a day before I decide whether to do that.
Okay. Tomorrow you will arrive at the trench. So from that point on, you need to be prepared once they've located the area they want you to go down into. Johann, you receive a message from Doc. He would like you to come down to sick bay.
Okay. Do I have a mask and gloves?
Yeah, actually he gives those to you when you get there. He's wearing them himself.
Okay.
And he says just a precaution because so far this is extremely bizarre. It seems to be infecting one new person every day, not any more than that. It doesn't seem to be spreading. It seems to be focused. He takes you in and he says, I have some bad news. Seaman Wheeler has passed away.
Oh, jeez.
And he says, but I've never seen anything like this before. And he says, brace yourself. And he takes you into where the tent is. And through the plastic of the tent, you can see that Ernest Wheeler has pretty much disintegrated into green goo. Do a sanity roll.
It's like liquefied?
Pretty much. He's contained inside the plastic bag, but...
I passed 37 out of 50.
Okay. Do 1 to 2 points of damage.
Okay, so out of...
It's pretty
Okay,
horrendous.
I took one.
All right. And of course, he points out that he has other patients that are progressing.
Have they seen this? The other ones that are infected?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I would try to get word about this to the captain. This is highly
Well, I've been
unusual.
sending regular reports to the captain.
Are you getting anything back from him?
Nothing.
This is bizarre. In looking into it, I mean, does it look like anything's growing? You know, there's nothing growing out of the mess, is there? Like a fungus or...
Well, kinda. I mean, algae, but people don't get infected with algae.
Yeah, that just doesn't seem right. Yeah.
It seems like it could be some sort of you can't really tell if it's plant or animal at this point without doing a microscopic examination.
And we don't have those tools.
That kind of equipment, right?
Yeah.
It looks, because it's green, it looks like plant material, but it seems in places that you can still see it, that it's literally dissolving the flesh, like a giant white corpuscle, eating a bacterium or something like that.
All right. Doc, do you know if these guys, I mean, were they going through rotation on anything?
I so far have tried every way I can to find out what the commonality is between them all. And there's only one thing, and it makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, all right. Well, what is it? I mean,
3 of the crew, Ernest was one of them, said something about the leaf.
The leaf?
As I said, it doesn't make any sense at all. We don't have any green growing plants on board the ship.
And they were talking. Is it something they were smoking, maybe?
Well, no, nobody smokes on board our ship.
Oh, yeah.
The only leaves I could think of would be like spinach or something
Okay.
in the kitchen. But
The leaf.
when spinach is served, or when salad is served, I don't actually know if salad is served on a submarine, but when it's served,
It is.
everybody eats it. So why is only one person being infected? It makes no sense at all. This is a mystery.
And Ernest was one of the people that said that.
Yeah.
Were Sam and Ned the other two?
He said it when he was in delirium. Well, we have 8 people now infected.
Okay.
1 for each day. Beginning with the second day we were underway.
Do you know anything about what they were doing, if they were on shore leave or anything before they got on the sub?
Actually, I have no idea.
Okay.
You think
Perhaps.
that the connection might be had before?
Well, I mean, I'm sure some infections could incubate in the body for quite a while.
But why would it be spread out like this and not have infected them all at the same time?
That is a great question.
And why only one person? I have no idea.
Yeah, this really isn't my forte.
Well,
I'm glad to help in any way that I can. And actually, we've attempted to approach the captain and haven't had any luck yet. We may have to be a little bit more direct about our efforts and getting in to speak with them.
Well, I'd appreciate the help. You guys have got your mission tomorrow, and hopefully, if we can get back to the Falkland Islands a day later, maybe we can get some relief. Maybe we can find out what the hell's going on here.
The leaf. And did they say the leaf when they were down here in your care, or you just know they happened to be talking about that?
It's what it sounded like. No, it was mostly when they went into a delirium.
Into the delirium. Okay. There's nothing on board the ship called a leaf. Is there any? Do you know of any part of the ship or parts on the ship?
No, nothing.
All right. This technology is a little beyond me.
Not like any kind of slang. I've been aboard these ships for the last 15 years, and I don't remember anything like that.
All right.
In part why I'm the corpsman, because I've got kind of like a jack of all trades. You want your plumbing fixed, I can do that as well.
Yeah. Well, I've been eating well, so things are going okay there. I will. All right. Well, I'll get back to you certainly if I get any news, and please keep in contact with me with this. And what do you plan on doing about Ernest's puddle?
All I can do is keep it contained for now. And good God,
Yeah.
you know, I've barely been able to sleep these last few days because just the thought of this whole situation. I've never had anything like this happen to me in my entire career. You know,
Yeah.
Occasionally somebody got sick. The worst was, I had somebody who broke his leg. I had to set it and take care of him before we were out for like 3 weeks before we got back to a place.
Oh, that could get gnarly if they had to break it and reset it.
Yeah, that's what I did have to do.
Yeah. With the have you noticed some of the guys on board been kind of, I don't know, kind of getting flighty, leaning
Kind
on
of
the
listless, leaning against the walls.
Okay, yeah, that's where I was going.
I have noticed that. Yeah, and I thought maybe they're just. I heard that the captain was like driving them really hard, but
yeah,
I don't know if they've been put on on double shifts or that's not normal.
You haven't seen that with guys maybe that have been on board for a long time before some sort of, I don't know, some sort of syndrome or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything like that.
Okay.
This has been a strange trip.
I agree. Well, hopefully we'll like you said, we'll be, done with this, tomorrow or the day after and headed back to the islands to where we can get some relief here.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
How about the rest of you? Do you want to do anything?
I bring them all in the loop, obviously, as quick as I can.
another safety check. Well, that's standard on a day-to-day basis.
Everything with the submersible seems perfect.
I want to check myself. I tell you what, actually, I've been wondering. You say one person is getting infected every day.
Yeah.
What if we were to map out their quarters or their workstations and just see if there's any natural progression through the ship or anything
Sure.
like
I mean,
that?
the doc's been trying to, crunch this thing too and see if he sees any pattern. He's a little bit more familiar with what they do day to day. But I mean, it couldn't take us more than an hour to try to do what you're suggesting. Make some sketches and just try to figure out the flow of things.
Well, I mean, I'm all up for doing that. Once I've done my safety checks for the day, that's pretty much it for me. I've got plenty of time.
In this leaf thing, no, any of you ran into, I don't know, something weird about leaves on board?
I just had a weird thought, which I'm sure it's nothing, but aren't sometimes books, aren't they sometimes called leaves or like a chapter?
Pages of books.
Pages are leaves. Yeah.
Particularly antiquarian.
And then I'll share my story that I saw Ensign Rumsey give the captain a book.
Oh. Well,
I mean, it's a stretch, but...
Well, I think we definitely need to speak to the captain. I don't think we can play around with this any longer. Or he at least needs to know what's going on.
I've been told that he's probably not the best guy to talk to right now.
Why so?
Because
I just, I wonder, you don't want to, in my experience, the best person to talk to usually is the second in command, because the captain's so high up, they don't want to listen to you. Well, second in command usually has they have the control over things sometimes. Captain has the ideas, second in command executes them. Is second in command someone we could talk to, Tom, or
would that be Byron?
That's Byron, yeah. He's second.
It's Byron, and Byron's the one Byron's the one telling me not to bother the captain. Or not, he's recommending it. He wasn't saying don't, he's saying it's not
and
the best
he said he
idea.
couldn't stop you, so.
And
couldn't stop me, but
who brought the book to the captain?
It was Ensign Rumsey.
Maybe we should find him and just, casually put him in a corner and ask him questions.
Could beat it out of him.
Yeah, we're on a boat, small boat, underwater. Kind of not the best idea to beat the shit out of someone. I mean, if I knew them,
Well, I'm all for talking to the captain. Maybe we can get a clue from this Rumsey.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm ex-Navy. Why don't I go talk to the captain? See if I can just I'll play him up a bit.
Okay.
You might know how to talk his language. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I knock on the captain's door, Tom, or is it something that?
Captain is on the bridge. Captain is in the command area.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to walk up to the captain and say, Captain, I'm sorry I haven't introduced myself
on board the bridge. Get him
Captain,
out of here right now.
Captain, I'm Senior Chief, former Navy SEAL.
I don't care who the fuck you are. Get the hell off my my command station. Can't you see we're busy here? Get the fuck off. And he's a security. Get him off of here. And everybody on board the in the command station looks like they're scared the fuck out of their wits, because the captain is way over the top. But the security people take you to the door, and they look kind of apologetic about it. But
okay, well, when one of them takes me to the door, I say, "Guys, look, all I want to do is I've got to get some information back to the Miskatonic University. I just want to be able to get on the radio. Can I, or the radio, or the LAN, whatever the system is that we need to get a message out? Is it possible I could do that?
You need to talk to Aiden Carr, chief radio operator.
Okay, I from a distance apologize. I'm sorry, Captain. I apologize.
He completely
Not my place.
ignores you.
Easy enough. Okay.
And what you see him doing is he's got navigation charts. He's micromanaging everything that his crew is doing there. He's pointing to things. He says, no, 17.3 degrees, and he's just, it's ridiculous. It's almost a caricature.
Can I get one of the, as the security guys are escorting me off, can I say to one of them, can I have a word?
Well, one of them says, I'm going back. But
Can
the
you
other
cover
one,
for this guy?
the other one's
Can you
like,
cover?
make it quick.
Okay.
It's not a
What
good time.
I'll take the other guys aside and I'll just say, what the fuck is going on? What is up with Captain? I mean, this is not, are we on the same course we're supposed to be on? What's going on?
As far as I know, we are exactly on the course that he wants us to be on. And I would suggest you talk to the lieutenant commander. We can't do anything unless he endangers the crew.
Okay.
And so
No, I
far,
get it. No, I understand. I
all
get
he's
it.
done is be extremely exacting in everything that we do.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, is lieutenant commander on the bridge, or is he off elsewhere?
He shouldn't be that hard to find. So the security guy leaves you, but it takes you maybe 10 minutes to find the executive officer, James Byron, Lieutenant Commander James Byron, and you find that he's coming back from like the navigation area, and he's going rather quickly, and so, but he's like, Mr. Shipley, walk with me. What do you have to say before I've got to go back to the command center?
We have some concerns regarding the health of some of your crew, the captain's actions. I mean, are we on course? Is there something going on? I mean, things are coming up, things are happening that are not quite the norm, and we're a little concerned about our safety here.
Have no fear. We are on that. We're on course. We will arrive there tomorrow morning. We are, in fact, probably going to be a little bit early.
Captain's efficient.
It's, to say the least. I've never seen him like this, but as you well know, I can't really do anything unless he actually does something.
Of course. Of course.
I apologize. I have to go.
No apologies.
Please,
can I get?
Please feel free to keep me
access
informed.
to the radio?
Access to the radio. You want to speak with Aiden Carr.
Mr. Carr. Okay.
What exactly are you going to do?
We're supposed to be reporting back to our Miskatonic University when we're getting close to the location we're going to. Not necessarily reporting on the situation. I mean, there's nothing going on right now. We haven't arrived, but we have to report that we're getting close. Well,
remember, code your messages. Make sure that you're not, if we have an enemy sub in the area, use discretion. I'm sure that you were in the Navy.
Well, yes, cryptography is not my thing, but I know how to. We just have to report all's well.
All right. Yes, you have my permission.
Thank you.
Keep me informed of what's going on.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I'll go to find Mr. Carr, I guess.
All right. So you arrive in the radio room, and you find Mr. Carr monitoring the radio. Normally, he would have two other crew people in there with him. Both of them seem to be missing. And he's like, he looks up at you and he says, I don't know you. What's up? What do you need?
Hi, Mr. Carr. I'm a former retired.
A former retired.
Sorry, not former retired. That would be ridiculous. I'm a retired senior chief, Navy SEAL, Mark Shipley. I'm here with the Miskatonic group. We're running this sub. I have to report back to Miskatonic University that we are approaching the target, and wondering if I could use the radio for that purpose.
He gives you a bit of the runaround about, no unauthorized, blah blah blah. But if you've got permission from the lieutenant commander, then be my guest. Do you know how to run? Do you know how to work a radio?
Oh, of course.
All right.
I don't know that I do, but
well, he shows you what to do, and he tells you, though, bear in mind that I am monitoring, and if you say something that is not allowed, I will cut you off. There's a 10-second delay.
Of course. All right.
Did you lose Jeff?
He said BRB. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
My question to you is, outside of actively role-playing the game, the persons I was talking to before our mission, do I know their names and contact information at all that I can use in this purpose?
You know that there was an admiral involved, and you probably know his name. I don't have that in my.
I mean, I don't have to have it. I just wondering if
you were approached about a week before this with the dean of the college and this admiral, and they told you what the mission was and why they needed you, and you had all agreed, and that was that. Everything was arranged, and a week later you were getting on board the submarine.
Okay. Well, I would certainly want to send a message to the dean, assuming that whatever I send to him, he will understand. And what I would like to say is, approaching target, all crew or all members of the Miskatonic crew are well. ... Is the guy standing over my shoulder as I'm typing this in?
He's at another station, but he's monitoring. He's got a...
So he can hear. Oh, so this is verbal, not typing. Not typing then.
Oh. See, I don't know enough about it. Why wouldn't it be verbal? This is 2018 or 1917. The hell, I don't know the year.
I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of typing. That's why I was like ...
Well, maybe it is like a coded message, like an email.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It's possibly like a coded message, in that I was like, "All's well with the crew," and capitalize the and crew ...
Okay.
All I have for now. Leave it at that and see if if he's okay with that. Send.
Okay. Yeah, he has no problem with that.
Okay.
And he's like, now, if you don't mind, I'm kind of underhanded here. Underhanded.
Oh, I know the captain. You're busy. You're under crewed, and the captain's busy.
Right.
Or the captain's pushing you. I get it. Yep. All good.
All right. Anything else before tomorrow that you want to do? It also looks like we might go over just a little. I hope that's okay.
I'd like to talk to Ramsey. Think we could find him?
Rumsey?
Rumsey.
Rumsey should be in navigation.
Isn't that where it all started? Yeah. Oh.
All right.
Okay. Should be in navigation now.
When you get to navigation, There are 3 people still in navigation, including the chief of navigation, Kendrick Bailey. Rumsey is there, and there is another ensign, Hiro Inaba, Asian fellow. They are all leaned over the instruments, and Rumsey even more so is checking and double checking and triple checking all the data that they've got coming in. So they all look extremely busy.
I'll go over to the chief and say, "Excuse me, Chief. I'm sorry for interrupting you here, but I've got a need to speak to Rumsey for just a moment. Would you be able to part with him for just 3 minutes, maybe?"
Rumsey is we're all very busy right now. What is this about?
This is actually, we're trying to follow up on some of the illnesses that we've had on board, and we just wanted to ask him a couple of questions regarding Ernest that was working in here.
Ernest?
Yeah, Ernest was in Nav, wasn't he not?
Yes, that's correct. Ernest is in sick bay, as far as we know.
Yes, he's dire conditions, and so it's prompting us to try to figure out a little bit about what was going on with him. As I said, it would just be for a moment. Yeah, I really understand the urgency, of keeping him here.
Rumsey sort of straightens up and looks over in your and he says, "Chief, I'm kind of due for a bathroom break. Can I go for 5 minutes? I can, if they want to ask me something, I'm cool with that. I'll be right back to continue this." And he's like, "Fine."
All right, cool. When we get out in the hallway somewhere that I could be somewhat quiet, I'll just tell him and say, "Listen, I'm going to keep my voice down here. Ernest is in really bad shape. Did you see anything in particular happen with him before he came down with this rash that he had?"
And he's like, "Well, I don't really know anything about him. He was kind of new. I'm not so sure he knew his job very well, but he was trying."
Yeah, yeah. Why do you say that? Was he not alert, or was it just his technical ability?
I don't know. I just didn't like the way he looked.
Okay. Well, and again, I'm not going to keep you very long here. One of the other members of our team, mentioned that he saw you in speaking with the captain, and I'll just have to be blunt. Do you know anything about the captain's current condition? He seems kind of really irritated, irate.
He shakes his head. He says he just wants to make sure everything is going smoothly here.
Okay, and we saw basic.
I actually do have to use the restroom. So.
Okay, and I'll let you go. My last question is that we saw a particular book on board that you happen to have been delivering to the captain. Do you know what that book was? It's a leather-bound book.
He looks at you. Do a psychology roll. I don't know if you have psychology at all.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Damn. No, I failed.
But still, he looks at you with a strange, odd smirk on his face. And he says, "I don't know anything about that."
All right.
And
well,
he says, "I got to go." And
all right. I apologize for any misunderstanding, but thank you for your help, sir.
He heads to the head.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Shall we skip then to the next day? Things just seem weirder. But right about 7:30 a.m., you hear basically the announcement over the intercom that the submersible crew needs to assemble, they've located what seems to be the signature, and you will be descending within the next 45 minutes.
All right, guys, let's do it right. Let's do it quiet, and let's get the hell out of here.
Okay, final safety check then.
Yep.
I mean, I know I'm doing a lot of these safety checks, but let's just put this into context. If we get down there and there's a hole the size of my little finger in that submersible, right, then we're all going to be crammed up into the top very quickly, and it's all going
You
to go.
keep us alive. Yeah.
So, be aware.
You're the one
There's
that
a
keeps
reason
us alive.
for all these safety checks. I'm just telling you. It's just, I don't want you to think I'm overdoing it.
No, Bob, your excellence is always appreciated. I wouldn't trust anybody more than you.
All right. You guys get everything ready, and you are just climbing into the submersible. You're going one at a time. You're getting yourself in position, and then the next person gets in. And just before Johann gets in there, the doc comes up and just sort of quietly puts his hand on your shoulder and says, Portsmouth is dead.
Sam?
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, I haven't found out anything new, have you?
He says nothing. He says, try to find what you're looking for quickly, and then we can get back.
Yeah, we all want to get out of this situation quick, and I appreciate you helping to keep things together down there, because I'm sure that's not an easy task.
All right. You seal the door on your submersible, and you unattach from the USS Whitaker. And as you're there for just a moment, it strikes you that your little submersible, it's like it hangs like a little child's toy over miles and miles of deep water. And it's ominous and it's overwhelming. And you begin your descent. 20 minutes into your descent. It's going to take you about an hour and a half. It's going to take about 2 hours to get to the bottom of the trench, but you might not have to go that far. The estimate is that whatever it is around 6,000 meters down.
Okay.
But about 20 minutes into your descent, you get a radio call, and it's from Lieutenant Commander Byron. And he says, gentlemen, I think that you can stop worrying. I am in charge of this mission at this point. The captain suddenly decided to leave the bridge. Now that we found the signature, he's gone to his room and didn't answer my inquiries. I guess he's probably asleep. But from this point on, I'm in charge.
Has anyone checked on the captain to make sure he's okay? I mean, with all the illness going on in the ship.
He's shown no symptoms of any kind of disease.
Good.
It's probably exhaustion.
Did he surrender his authority?
To be honest, he did nothing at all. He simply left. Once we had located the signature, it was almost as if he lost complete interest.
Very odd. Look, when we're yeah, I'll say if we've been descending for 20 minutes, we should be okay now. Can I use the hydrophone again to see if I can hear anything outside?
Yes.
Now that we're reasonably far away from the noise of the submarine. Another listen roll.
Go ahead, do a listen roll. Yeah.
And that is, oh, blimey, that's a 3.
Okay.
See, down here without distractions, I can really pay attention.
Now that you have left the sub behind, we're descending into the darkness. Ooh, into the darkness. You don't hear anything. Anything out of the ordinary.
Oh, right, okay.
Have we turned on the Geiger counter yet?
Yes.
Has it picked up anything?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely something there. And the signal is getting stronger. You're not able to use any kind of parallax to triangulate, but the sub was able to ascertain that it's probably around 6,000 meters down. About 70 minutes into your descent, probably around 5,000 feet or 5,000 meters down. There's something now. The portholes in your sub are very small. Most of your stuff is done with instruments. The glass is, of course, very thick because it's designed to take this kind of pressure. But you can still see just basically a black circle is all you're seeing because it's pitch black out there. You've already passed through the zones where you've seen glow-in-the-dark animals. But out of your port side window, there's something in the distance that you're heading towards that seems to be glowing. It has a greenish sort of glow to it, yellowish green, very much like something bioluminescent. And it's large. It's blurry because it's far away, but it's almost got a horseshoe sort of shape to it, where it's thin and then thick and then thin. And it's just hanging there in the darkness off in the distance. And then the radio crackles. And you hear Byron suddenly calling out, "Mayday, Mayday." And he's sending a signal to the surface, but nothing has happened, he says, yet. But the captain has taken control of the weapons, and he has loaded a torpedo into the torpedo tube. And they're trying to get a security team down there to stop him. And then your submersible is hit by a concussion wave as the radio crackles, and you hear Byron saying that the captain has detonated the torpedo in the tube and blown the whole front end of the submarine off.
Oh. This is not
Mayday,
good.
Mayday, Mayday. Now, when the concussion wave hits whatever that glowing thing is, it suddenly begins to move. It unfolds itself, and it begins to look like a thing in the water that's actually swimming. It is easily the size of a whale. It's monstrously huge. And it's swimming in your direction.
Oh.
Sanity roll.
Yeah, Bob, time to get topside.
Roll first. I'm
Oh.
good.
Fail.
I just rolled 96.
I'm assuming I'm good. I'm good.
No, it's not catastrophic, but I've definitely failed.
If you passed, 1d4. If you failed, 1d8.
1d8.
Oh, I took 3. Okay.
5. And that is 10%.
3.
Well, Bob, you were able to keep control of it, despite the fact that the water around you now is rocking violently back and forth. Fred, I'm sorry, Johan, you had your face right up against that portal as this thing started swimming towards you. And this is what you see. Where is it? Oh, shit. Time out.
Kind of looks like a guy with a beard and a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's an illusion.
With, like, headphones.
Why doesn't it show up?
It must be
Isn't that all of us?
Pareidolia.
Hold on. I am
beginning to regret putting the submarine effects thing on at my end because it's now kind of freaking me out.
all right. This is what you see.
We see Fred. Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
I just start gasping and choking. I could barely breathe.
Well, actually, let's see what the hell happens to you.
Yeah. Well,
just trust me. I'll pick a card.
What's the Geiger counter doing, by the way, as this thing's coming towards us?
It's going like crazy.
Shit, this is
All right. You got flee and panic. So unfortunately, what you're going to try to do is get the hell out of the sub.
uh-huh.
Now, I'm sure that there are locking mechanisms on the sub that won't allow you to. However,
Right.
all the rest of you see him
I
attempting
control them.
to open the sub, to get the hell out of the sub. The thing swims past you. I'd like you to all do a luck roll.
$12 out of 50.
23.
I
Did
got
anybody
a 26.
Fail.
I passed.
Jeff, you failed. As you are there in the ship, the thing swings past you, and it seems to be heading probably for where the sub is. It's completely covered on its back by these long metallic needles, and there is a thunk sound as one of the needles penetrates the side of the submersible. And amazingly, there's no instant decompression, but the needle goes right into you. And you are pinned by it, except that it doesn't hurt. You feel euphoric. You just sort of become completely mesmerized by warm, wonderful feelings that are flowing over your body. You begin to see visions of what looks like outer space. The rest of you are absolutely terrified. The thing swims past you, and it heads straight for the now partially destroyed sub that is sinking rapidly. And what do you guys want to do? First of all, you've got one person injured and possibly dying. The other one is trying to get out of the thing, so he's kicking.
Well, I'm assuming we're going to have video of whatever that was, because obviously we're recording everything.
Sure.
Yes.
So as far as I'm concerned, we have fulfilled our mission.
Let's restrain who's
We can't return to the submarine because the submarine has been damaged. The only option I have as pilot of this vessel is to head for the surface and deploy the emergency beacon.
Okay. So you, I don't know what they call it, blowing the ballast, and you start heading towards the surface.
Well, I'm announcing my intention to do that, unless anyone else feels that we should return to try and aid us to render assistance to the submarine.
I'm probably yelling at you.
I don't see
that.
what we can do. We can't do anything to assist the submarine because we're already at full capacity. We can't get any more people in here.
Screw them.
So
I'm restraining whoever's trying to friggin' get out the door. Like
That's me. I'm yanking on the door handle. Or anything I can
the
yank on
only way that any survivors on that submarine are going to be saved is if we make it to the surface right now and deploy the emergency beacon.
Which is 3 hours up. Or are we fully down yet? Are we like all the way down, or are we like?
You're only 6,000 meters down, but that's still going to take a couple hours to get to the surface.
Well, we need to restrain what is your name, Fred?
Johan.
We need to restrain Johan. Johan, tie him up with stuff.
Why don't you do a grapple on Johan?
Oh, where's my grapple? Where's my
I
grapple?
I don't want him to grapple me. I'm trying to get out of here.
Oh, of course you don't want me to grapple you. Where's the grapple? Where is it? I can't.
Oh, it's just brawl.
Oh, brawl. Okay. All right. No.
Oh, fix that.
Did you make it?
I rolled a 67. Where is my brawl? Is it in skills?
It's in fighting. Yeah. Fighting brawl. This should be the very first thing.
I did not make it. No.
Okay. He probably kicked you.
I'm just going to point out
bastard.
that there are countless tons of pressure pushing on this vessel from outside.
Yeah, you can't just open a door.
Like, your strength would have to be sort of in the high thousands.
Superhuman crazy.
Open the hatch. Were it not for the fact that I'm also not going to flip the switch to let you do it.
We'll end it with this. Do a luck roll, and somebody needs to get an extreme.
Oh, fuck. We're going 2 nights, are we? Okay. I did not get an extreme. I got 47 out of 50.
A 10 or under. No, I got a 45 out of 50.
Jeff, roll.
What am I rolling for?
Just roll.
Luck.
Luck, fail.
So you all failed your luck. All right. As you guys are ascending, Bob is looking out the window, trying to navigate, trying to get you guys up to the surface. When you see the thing has more or less finished with the sub and is now heading back towards you. And
nice.
The last thing that you see is, of course, this monstrously huge glowing mouth opening up, and that's unfortunately the end of your story as it crushes down on your tears you
I'll
guys to
never
shreds.
get to climb Mont Blanc.
All right. So, probably want to know what was happening.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rumsey. Rumsey had been reading a text known as The Mysteries of Gala'aki. And he had learned a spell. And in order to cast a spell, it took him a considerable amount of power and magic points to cast it. But it involved casting it on a small leaf of some sort. And then the person that he handed that leaf to developed what's called the green decay. And so as part of his worship, so to speak, of Gala'aki, he'd been doing this every day and handing the leaf to a new person. And that's what was happening to the people. The other people on board the ship were succumbing to the call of Gala'aki, which was the creature that was... It's unclear whether it was going through some sort of a breeding cycle or what, but it's not exactly in line with Ramsey Campbell's story. But whatever it was a similar creature, and that's what it was doing. It was attempting to reproduce down at the bottom of the ocean, and it was giving off a signature. And you guys disturbed it, and once you disturbed it, well, it ate you. The people who sort of came under its dream spell, they wanted it to stab them with one of these quills, because when it stabs you, it departs wisdom on you. You begin to know all of the things that it had ever seen in its millions of years of existence. And you would, in the right conditions, become kind of an undead servant of the thing. It's actually a character that came up in Jeff's story, Amidst the Ancient Trees. But it was really good. It was you guys did a great job, I thought. Y'all died. That's cool.
I always die.
It is a one shot.
So lucky Anthony, he gets to be the one that gets poisoned and enjoys the trip. You know,
That was fun.
Almost. I thought you're so close to the end. Should I have Rumsey shake your hand and you pull back and there's a leaf in your hand because you're asking too many questions? It wouldn't have made any difference because you didn't last a day after your encounter with him. This is one of those one-page scenarios.
One page? Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
All written on one page.
That's great. Well done.
Of course, I added a lot of... I sat and researched submarines and all that sort of stuff. And there's a really cool website called Submarine 101. It's kind of a blog written by a guy who was a submariner, and it's very interesting because it's entertaining to read. And he does have a whole section on pranks that they pull on each other. These come from Reckoning of the Dead is the website, and they're really good. There's a whole bunch of them. Anyways, let's end it there. Our players included Jeff Wilkins, Fred Carter, Sean Little, and Mick Swan, with yours truly as a keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron of our show, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, subscribe, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And be sure to leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.